the motion that this House believes that post-conflict states should focus on reconciliation rather than the prosecution of the defeated parties, for example, rebel groups and also armies. On the opening government, we have Selimut Tetangga. On the opening opposition, we have ITnB. On the closing government, we have Edcy and Deco. And for closing opposition, we have Emperor Penguin 12. During the debate, we would like to encourage everyone to keep silent and, of course, unless the speaker, but would like to also encourage that you guys do not enter the room or go outside the room during the speech. We encourage you guys to do so during the exchange between the speakers. Okay, cool. So let's start the debate. Would like to call upon the Prime Minister here.
Post-conflict countries, such as the countries which have civil wars, the countries which has a conflict within the two parties in such of countries, for example, in dictatorial or a different cultures country, we say, ladies and gentlemen, they need to stop the dispute. We say, ladies and gentlemen, the prosecution only creates more harmful act, only creates more dividends between these two parties, ladies and gentlemen, and we say enough is enough and they need a restorative justice called reconciliation. So, ladies and gentlemen, how are we going to define a reconciliation? We say in all forms, ladies and gentlemen, we say that it shares the same features of wanting to resolve the dispute, wanting to resolve the dispute between countries that exactly that these two parties have their own interest to be catered and have their own interest to be heard, ladies and gentlemen. And we say, ladies and gentlemen, they will have an open discussion where they will resolve the dispute, where they actually say the problems and where they actually consider about the different beliefs, different cultures, and why they fight. And ladies and gentlemen, we say it will work. So our stance is pretty simple, ladies and gentlemen. In post-conflict countries, we want to create a condition where sustainable development for these countries will occur. So we say they need a sustainable environment first. So we say, ladies and gentlemen, the characterization of post-conflict countries is that countries who want a peace and a rebuilding in their infrastructure. So the question is, ladies and gentlemen, why the consolidation is contingent towards this building infrastructure and sustainable development in the very first place. But ladies and gentlemen, before that, ladies and gentlemen, let me characterize what is this post-conflict countries. It has been a fight. They have been fighting over the years. The society have been divided over the years into groups, and they have been fighting for the sake of their interests. And we say, ladies and gentlemen, prosecution won't cater those interests, and prosecution, ladies and gentlemen, won't create a stable environment for these countries to strive and for these countries to rebuild their infrastructure to be a better country at the end. So first thing, let me start my speech with is why prosecution is inherently harmful. Firstly, ladies and gentlemen, we say that prosecution generates hatred. We say, ladies and gentlemen, in post-conflict country, hatred is the last thing that we want. Hatred is the last thing that we want because it will create a disunity. It will create more dividends and it will create more groups to fight, ladies and gentlemen. We say, ladies and gentlemen, it is not strategic to develop a nation in an unstable environment. We say it is a strategic move of a post-conflict country to use this prosecution method to create a better environment or a better country for themselves, because as what they want a peaceful life where they want changes in their country from the past regime that they had in the past, right, ladies and gentlemen. So we say, secondly, ladies and gentlemen, that prosecution is sometimes unfair. Prosecution sometimes unfair for these divided parties, because these divided parties have a distinction fact spectrum, that they have a different reasons why to fight. Sometimes they lose the war, but sometimes they surrender in order to create a better country, ladies and gentlemen. And we say prosecution is not the way to cater those kind of defeated parties who surrender to create a better country. Because of what, ladies and gentlemen? Because it is the moment when unfairness happens. It is the moment when the winning will overwhelm the losing team. And that's exactly, ladies and gentlemen, when unstable environment will occur. Because what they want is just simply fulfilling their interests. What they want is just simply being listened, ladies and gentlemen. Because defeated party exists, it's not just simply they want to rebel by the government, because they have their own interest to be heard. Because, for example, they have a different belief or different culture. Because they think that the government is bad. Because they think that the policy is oppressing certain communities. And we say, ladies and gentlemen, they deserve to be heard. And we say, after a long years of war, we say that these people deserve to be heard. And we say prosecution won't get the deserved right for them to be heard as a community and as a part of the citizen of that country, right, ladies and gentlemen. But currently, ladies and gentlemen, let's just say that they deserve a prosecution. Let's just take at their best that they deserve prosecution. That we say that that this will not create justice at all, right, ladies and gentlemen, because defeated parties are a part of the citizens. While they fight for their countries, they are being fought too, ladies and gentlemen. Because there are decision of this war itself justified why this prosecution itself, even when they do violence, it is not justified in the very first place. We say, ladies and gentlemen, they fight for their interest of the nation that they want to protect, for example. And that kind of thing, ladies and gentlemen, seems unfair and seems injustice in terms of when they want to defend their country, but they got a prosecution instead at the end. And we say there won't be justice, and it's not unfavorable with the, for example, in international communities, for example, ladies and gentlemen, and those kind of prosecution will lead to injustice that we don't want to support it. So in the end, ladies and gentlemen, for example, even in the case of dictatorship, we say some dictators got immunity because of what? They want to solve this kind of problem by a reconciliation process, whereas they want a stable environment where those hatred, those prejudice towards this kind of people will not be there. And we say prosecution is not a good way. Second, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to explain why reconciliation is the best way to resolve the problem. Firstly, that we say because rebel itself, they are not being placed by the government, like I've said before. That they have been attacked by the government, for example. That they have been shut down by the government when they try to advocate what they want. And they rebel, ladies and gentlemen. We say when reconciliation occurs, that they will have a sense of resolve when this kind of people will be heard and this kind of people will solve the problem, but because the government will know what is the problem and those kind of people will have an interest. And second, ladies and gentlemen, they will have a better agreement. For example, in terms of resolving their dispute. For example, we will clash between ideas. We will clash between beliefs. We will clash them until we get a certain consideration whether this kind of thing will be occur at the very end of the day. That's what we want in a better developing nation. So, thirdly, ladies and gentlemen, let's just say that this is dispute between culture. In terms of policy making, ladies and gentlemen, we say a post-conflict country needs a policy maker. And what policy maker is the best policy maker? Reconciliation, ladies and gentlemen, creates a best group to create a policy making because it will actually cater all the senses of the society to prevent more dispute in the future. Because tension happens because you are affiliated with one another. When you're included in that community, ladies and gentlemen, you will be labeled as one community. Therefore, policy making will be better, and reconciliation is the start of the policy making. And we say it's okay. But lastly, ladies and gentlemen, let's just, even if in the worst case scenario, that this kind of community or this kind of rebel groups wouldn't eventually surrender and wouldn't eventually submit themselves in terms of they won't get any resolve, right, ladies and gentlemen. We say reconciliation works better because at the very least, ladies and gentlemen, an apology would be nice at that time. An apology in terms of listening or in terms of knowing the problem is better. In terms of, for example, we say by reconciliation, at least it will create a stable environment. On the opposite of the logic, we say if a prosecution happens, there will be a defendant and there will be a prosecutor. There will be a party who support this thing and there will be a party who oppose this thing. Like what happened in Indonesia. Where these two parties opposing one another, we say it will create an unstable environment for these people who live. Because, ladies and gentlemen, we say sacrifices have been done in post-conflict country and they deserve the peace that they deserve. Thank you.
We just wanted to say towards our status quo, and we want to persecute towards the defeated party of the prosecuted of the defeated party, which is the rebel groups or the resistance armies. But firstly, we don't really think that we should actually accept the proposals of reconsidering because of actually reconciliation. Because, well, basically, we would still consider a reconciliation when there's two conditions are fulfilled. Firstly, when they have went out of control, for example, or they have gone through way too many army that we are at a losing team. So, in order to prevent further casualties, most likely government would do a reconciliation. Why do we think that reconciliation should always be the last resort for the government? Because every time you do reconciliation, you don't just accept understand towards what's the best proposal necessarily, right? Because in the end of the day, there's a give and there's a take, and they're not necessarily reflected towards what government want or what the rebel want, and this is harmful, which I'm going to further explain in my point. But firstly, they take it for granted that reconciliation seems to be the best proposals. We don't think so, right? Because in the end of the day, rebel groups exist in the first place because there is no other way to create a change they wanted to, right? That means they have gone through lots of different ways, and most of the rebel groups, they come from the people and the politicians who disagree towards the current situations of the governments, right? So we think that, well, in the end of the day, it ends up being unfavorable. And how can they actually create a firstly stable environment, as they wanted to do, when they actually create, as I underlined, one community? Because once you actually make this kind of the rebel groups, you have one community, what happens is they started to blend within the society, right? And what have this rebel group have done? They have created chaos. You have created, these countries to become a post-conflict states. And these people are the people who have killed the family of the society. These are the people who have destroyed the society and make it into the post-conflict states they are right now. As they have stated, this country is recuperating later, sir, no. And that's why we think that this will not create a stable environment. You're still hating the increasing of the feeling of security for the society, right? And in my points, I'm going to explain why persecuting them is a better point, right? But what we wanted to achieve in the first place is that we don't want to create a worsened situation than they are right now in protection of society. So what we wanted to achieve, so what have these rebel groups have done, right? So they have created chaos, they have killed people, no. They have created conflict. So what these people, when they're at a post-conflict state, how do you analyze the society themselves? What they are really lacking in the feeling of protection, right? What they needed is a form of affirmation that the government is actually protecting them. And it is definitely not the best way to reconcile them, because as they say, we become one world, right? So what happens is that they become part of the society. And that doesn't necessarily mean that they are, we don't think society would agree to be part of the society that have killed your family, for example, and creating an insecurity, no sir. And it is when what we think is that it harms the protection of the government. Yet when you prosecute them, that shows that there's an affirmation from the government, right? That these people are a defeated party and they are at the losing part. And we think that this is the form of affirmation that we needed to create if you wanted to create a stable environment that the government had proposed in the first place. And we think that this could also be a great way to create a fear towards the rebel, especially since most of these rebels are people that got brainwashed and to say, hey, we will win. But when people got persecuted, they were dead in the first place. We think that this could create a fear for them that there's no forgiveness, right? But that's not our burden to prove that they will stop, because none of the government could actually prove, no matter what, that we will make it, that it will stop the rebel, it will start the rebel completely, right? What we wanted to prove is that there is a chance to make it worse, and that is worse than the good that they would create, right? So move on to my next point, is that whether or not, let's just say, well, society was okay because maybe they were just too tired to fight, right? Let's just say that there's a reconciliation. What happens in the end of the day is that there's only two scenarios. Firstly, there's a give and take, right? That means you have to create a change in the government. We think that firstly, it is impossible to create a change that captures the whole of the rebel groups needed, right? Because in the end of the day, there's no reason for us to submit or even fight in the first place if the change was that easily created. But moreover, even if they say yes towards that, what happens in the end is that, well, let's just characterize a little bit of the rebel group. They have this certain belief that maybe this affects their religion or maybe about their leader. So, and they understand that they are fighting against the country, which means they are willing to fight to death, right? So we think that once people are willing to risk their life to actually create a change, we don't think that they would actually change their mindset that easily just because the government asks us to, right? We think that what happens in the end of the day is when you let the people enter within the country, you give them an improved access to what? To brainwash the people, right? To actually create a more recruit, to actually starting to improve the people steadily, right? And don't even if the government say, well, there's a supervision and those stuff, we think that the supervision would not be effective because right in the end of the day, supposing that they have this certain agenda, we think that in the end of the day, the government have to monitor inside the country and outside the country. And we think that the post-conflict states did not have the capability enough to do all of that, right? So, well, ladies and gentlemen, sure, there's a change that they will change. But we think that the government cannot ignore that there is a harm created when they actually started to reconcile and started getting stronger, right? So we think that they are at the defeated part of the house, which means they are already under control, the harm could be mitigated, and every part of the society have known that they were losing. So because we have shown them through the prosecution, right? And it is so, ladies and gentlemen, they are actually at the outside of the state. It will be very hard for them to cause chaos because they are at the defeated part, and it's very hard for them to recruit people because the society know that they are at the losing part. So it's very hard for people to brainwash them anymore, right? So which would be happening if they become the part of the society, which is something that we want to ignore. We did not want to ignore. So what we have shown to you today is we want to protect the feeling of security of the society, and we did not want to cause further harm towards the society. And for those reasons, please oppose the reconciliation.